Hey y'all. I'm trying to. Oh Lord, what's this? I don't need y'all in my business. I don't need nobody in my business. Hey y'all. I'm going live with my besties today. Again. Y'all know Jessica is a licensed therapist and was my therapist for many years before I could afford my own. Let's see. Can I do this? It's a little dark. Let's see. Going live. Not get to read my subject matter, my homework, because I accepted y'all. Okay, there we go. Hi. Hi.
Hey, hey.
Okay, let me put you on this side. It's better lighting. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay, it's
you.
my first time using the iPad, so.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
You look cute.
Yeah, you know I
Yes.
love a Bob.
Bill. So
Come
they calling me Bob.
through. Come through. Come through.
Stiff, but is it stiff where? Like stiff?
Like, can we get the little swirl for the girls, honey?
Yeah, all you need is a backpack.
Back.
Honey, we are giving.
Billy, what? Yes, I'm back in love with the Bob.
I love
She's
it for you.
back. She's
I love it.
back.
I love
And
it.
excuse my attire. For me, because we're counting down to the wedding, I keep wanting to eat pizza and cereal and like high carbs. And so what I saw online was they said if you want to go on a diet, walk around with your shirt off. So it'll constantly remind you when you're full. Because when you cross the mirror, you'll see how full you really are. When we wear clothes, like mentally, you're like, oh, okay, I can eat more because I don't feel my clothes are tight. You know what I'm saying? So this is just, it's a little mind trick I'm playing on myself because I want to eat whatever I want to eat because I'm happy or stressed or both. But I can't do that right now. So anyway, excuse my attire. I have to do this. It's we counting down, and I got desperate times calls for desperate measures. But Jessica and Cherie are on the line. I are y'all stiff? What's going on? Hello. I see y'all. Is it just me? Not your friends are gone. Oh, what happened? I've just been talking about myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we're
Thank
back.
you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
I don't
y'all.
know what
Yeah,
happened.
something happened. Like we left and now we're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's better. I don't want y'all nosy. I got a money jar behind me.
I don't know why I can't.
Y'all don't need to know how much money in my money jar.
Oh, but I want to know. We're going to have to connect after the call.
Yeah.
Because I got
Y'all,
seeds.
honestly, this jar has saved my life before, so I keep it right on my nightstand. And it honestly
Girl,
reminds
listen.
me of like just being abundant and staying abundant and knowing that money is everywhere.
I love that. I love
Okay.
that. All right, so we are going to get into it. We are excited to do our second live. The first one we talked about vulnerability in friendships, and I think they were feeling it. I think we were able to cultivate like honest moments, and super excited to talk about our various styles of communication. I know KJ and I were having a conversation earlier this week of just trying to figure out how can we communicate effectively in our different styles of communication. So my question to you all would be, how would you say your communication style is overall? Like when you are trying to engage with people, what is your go-to?
Mine is great.
Girl. So
Well,
would
so
you say
That's
you're
debatable.
I think your communication style depends on your audience, right? Like, and whether it's good or bad depends on your audience. Because I can be aggressive or not aggressive. I can be assertive or I can be direct. And that can be accepting to some people, and some people it is not. But you're gonna get one of the two.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, can I share what I said your communication style was earlier?
First, Jessica, they said, can everyone reintroduce
Oh,
themselves
okay,
because of what
okay.
happened earlier?
Okay, yeah. So my name is Jessica Newby. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I have a private practice in West Palm, and I'm revamping my business page, just trying to engage more in social media. So this is one of my ways of cultivating more engagement with connecting. I don't know, in social media. It's been difficult, but I appreciate my friends being supportive. So doing this IG Live is one way that I definitely want to reach more people.
My name is Shari Williams. I work in the private sector as a consultant. I have known these young ladies for more than half my life. And I'm here to support anything that they do, to show up and support.
Yes.
Has it more than half? Oh yes, that's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now Jessica, what were you saying?
Okay, so communication. So I was talking to Cherie earlier, and I was telling her that I was going to tell people Cherie's style of communication is she will cuss you out and go to bed and sleep at night and not think twice about it. Unless she's had a therapy session, then she will try to be more intentional and mindful. But other than that, that's how she communicates.
That's one day out of 30.
1 out of 30 is still a lot.
Yes.
There's 12 curse outs in a year.
Yes.
But what I always say, you got to let people know where they have you fucked up at.
It's true.
Like, I want people to know
And
when
yes,
I'm
Aries.
happy,
Yes.
when they have made me upset, when they've done something that has crossed my boundary. Like, I let them know immediately.
It's true.
And then you can decide whether or not you don't want to engage me or not anymore. And I'm fine with that.
And she
open
encourages others.
Like Cherie.
She
Y'all
will
like
encourage.
Robbie.
She will encourage others to let them know as well. I consider myself to be a very indirect communicator, so I tend to tread lightly. I like to avoid conflict. It's probably the therapist in me, and maybe a little bit of how I was raised. But that is normally my communication style, which works a lot of times, and a lot of times it does not work. So that's how I would categorize myself. What about you, bestie?
I think mine has changed. So I think
I'd agree.
Yeah, I think it has changed. I think before I would just wait, and then have these explosive episodes where I'm just like, like it's gonna come out, but it is when I did get upset, it came out really bad. Like it would just accumulate, and then I would just explode and go ham. Now I'm being more deliberate about not taking it there. So I'm taking Cherie's approach a little bit more, where I'm just like, this does not make me feel okay. This hurt me. I'm frustrated because I'm upset because well, one, mostly because of my career, I ain't gonna lie. Because I can't just explode on somebody because I let 10 other people take advantage of me. And I can't just explode on somebody at the airport because I had a bad day at work. Like, I can't do that. So now I try to voice what the issue is with the people who are causing the issue first.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't accumulate. I mean, sometimes I don't. Like, some people, I'll let it accumulate because of, for whatever reasons. Like, for instance, at work, if something affects me, sometimes I can't say, hey, that hurt my feelings, because that person can't handle it, and then that affects my work. So I still have to tread lightly, but I'm definitely more balanced than I used to be.
Yeah. Can we share about the conversation you and I had? Oh, go ahead, Cherie.
I wanted to ask a question about that. Has your experience been when you let people know how you feel that you found that people just don't know that they did something wrong?
Yeah.
And it's almost the education and an opportunity for
Yes,
them to
I
correct
agree.
their actions. So you're almost helping them as well because they didn't know.
100%. Most times it's a miscommunication. Most times it's a miscommunication. There are times where someone did something deliberate and then they try to gaslight me. So I'm like, it's not even worth it. I'm like, okay, I said my piece. You're telling me that my feelings aren't valid. You're dismissing my feelings. So sometimes it's just not worth it. But at least I'm learning to say my piece. And now if I can't say my piece with someone else, I'll say it in therapy, or I'll at least acknowledge it to myself. Like, that hurt my feelings, and now I will never put myself in that position with that person again. Yeah. I'll never allow that to happen because this person is not safe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
instead of making them an enemy or I hate them, or it's just like, I just can't, this person is not safe for me, so I'm going to not deal with it before something bad happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share a little bit about the conversation you and I had personally, where it was a moment where you felt like you were misunderstood because of your style of communication. And I think you were in the space of, you know, telling me that you're just a very straight shooter. You get to the point, and people have created this fear, you know, because they're indirect and they just don't know how to handle it. And I told you, I was like, I relate, because if I feel like someone is being too direct with me, I will avoid, I will shrink, I will sort of tread lightly. And you brought up an interesting point, because you felt like moving that way is almost like being a liar of omission or just not being straightforward. So we had a really interesting conversation, because I was like, I can see how that can be a misunderstanding on my part, because if I'm avoiding something because I'm with a direct communicator, that environment might not be safe for me. So I'm shutting down, and you're trying to get more information out of me. And I'm like, it's a wrap, because I don't operate that way.
Yeah.
If I'm direct and I'm telling you and you avoiding the conversation, I feel like now I gotta hunt you down. And I have to pull it out of you what I think you mean to say.
And I'm gonna be the gingerbread man. I'm the gingerbread man.
No.
If you can, because baby. Okay.
You're gonna have to figure out how to unblock yourself.
It is a wrap. It is a wrap.
Well, you know I'm pulling up.
Yeah, Cherie will pull up. Block is not gonna stop her, like, at all.
Yeah,
At all.
yeah.
I think so, to your point, Jessica, and mainly, okay, so I mean, I can be honest on here. It was like, it was essentially, it was my mom. So my mom is like one of the sweetest people I've ever met on the planet. And I'm very, and being in this industry has made me more direct, because people don't understand how many times I've gotten taken advantage of just for being young and dumb and wanting to be in the industry. And people are like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, come to set. It's going to be great. And yeah, I just have these stories. So it has toughened me. I used to be a lot more, less protective of myself. I used to be less protective of myself. And so I have gotten a little bit more direct. And my mom was having an issue with that, because my directness was also a lot, it was coming at her.
Yeah.
And so rightfully so, she was like, well, I feel like I can't talk to you anymore because you're this person now. Mm-hmm. And it's true. It's like, I've gotten, so if she's like, oh, my friend wants to come to your private party, I'm like, no, your friend cannot come to my private party. And although I move on, I don't lose no sleep about it. I'm just like, okay, you know, I told her no, and I can move on. She's still affected by it, because she's like, my friend is an extension of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not how I feel. I feel like your friend is your friend. She's not my friend. So therefore she's not invited to my things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, especially Southern culture, it's just polite to do these things that are not in alignment with what you got going on. Yeah. And I can't just be around my mom's friend's friend, cousin, unfortunately, I can't do that, because then that becomes work, because then they want me to be KJ. And when I'm with my mom, I want to be Kanisha Janae Smith. I don't want to be a version of myself that has to be, you know, because then that friend tells another friend, well, she looked like she had an attitude, when I'm just sitting in the corner, just minding my business at peace. Yeah. Or you know what? She when I asked her for a picture, it's like, this is my private time. Like, you know, when I'm in my home, people don't ask me for pictures. So you have now made my private time your public time.
Yeah.
And so it puts me in a precarious situation. So I had to have a real hard conversation with my mom because it had started to accumulate. And she just felt like she couldn't talk to me. And I was just like, why? Because I'm supposed to,
Yeah.
I could not understand why she wasn't, but now I see, you know,
Yeah.
now I see why. It's not her
And I think it
communication
brings,
style.
yeah, and I think it brings me to the point of there's two things that I think everyone does in communication. You either seek to understand or you seek to be understood.
Mm.
And I think that you have to be cognizant of when you are interacting. Are you seeking to be understood, meaning like you want someone to get your point of view, or are you really open-minded and seeking to understand where that person is coming from?
Mm.
Like, first I need you to understand me, and then I can work
Oh
on
my gosh.
I feel that. I feel that.
Okay, we can work on me after on my own private therapy session. Okay.
Put on a good bra. I got on my grandma bra with everybody. Let me put on a good bra. Sorry, y'all.
I mean, I think communication can be both, but if something's bothering me, I need you to understand me, and then I'll understand you.
But what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because I think if both people are
don't know. I
seeking,
never worked on no farm.
you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not doing.
No.
What you drinking?
Are you okay? Are we gonna get to the comments? How y'all feel about that?
Okay, yeah, let's get to the comments. Do you all seek to be understood or seek to understand? Yes, you can do both, but I'm just curious, if both people are trying to be understood, then that causes miscommunication and conflict, right?
Mm-hmm. I I seek to understand now. I think I used to seek to be understood. I used to have to fight to, like, for people to understand my reasoning, and I used to want to be like, well, this is why I did that, and this is why I was right in my choices. But it's like, it's mostly really about understanding people and moving forward with that in mind. Like, if I know you have a personality type, I'm not gonna confront you like, hey, we got beef. Like, I'm not gonna confront you that way. But if you do have a confrontational demeanor, then I'm gonna approach you a little, especially softer, because so I can protect.
Oh, that was a good comment. Someone said meet me halfway. I don't know if we can go back and see that
Yeah,
one.
it's beautiful.
Yeah. And I do think that a lot of people don't know how to actively listen. A lot of times when we are communicating, instead of listening to the other person, we're already coming up with a rebuttal, right? So no one is really actively listening to the other person. And I think, once again, that creates conflict and misunderstanding because both parties want to be understood at the same time, and no one is really listening to understand the other person.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. I think that's something, you know, even with Sky and I in therapy, you know, we talk about that, and it's like, now we have to slow down and say, what would you like, or what do you need from me in this moment?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, I just need silence so I can hear my thoughts. And sometimes it's like, I just need your attention.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that's what you needed. So now I can move forward with that. And that's why I'm starting to seek to understand, because I'm like, I just want to know what you need. I want to know how I can make this better, because I know what I need. So I don't have to, I think it comes with not feeling like I have to prove myself to people anymore. Like, when I felt like I had to prove myself, I used to be like, I want you to understand me, please. I'm a good person. I mean you well.
Yeah.
But when I'm seeking to understand, I'm a lot more calmer. My nervous system is calm, because I'm like, just help me help this relationship, help me help this situation.
Yeah. And I just imagine that both parties would start off seeking to understand, because I think we all want to be heard. So if we both enter this interaction of communication of, I value you enough to seek to understand you first, and the other person comes with the same energy, then I feel like that could proactively clear up miscommunications, because both parties are very interested in trying to get to know what's going on with the other person.
Mm-hmm. Someone else said, my mom has been living with me for 25 years, but sometimes I can't communicate with her most of the time. I really believe she thinks she's never wrong. I love my mom. We love each other.
Oh, okay.
Now, how do you deal with someone who feels like they're never wrong and they ain't trying to be understood? They ain't trying to
Don't,
understand.
Cherie, but I
The
don't know.
people want to know my opinion.
Go ahead. I'm apologizing.
I'm gonna let you
Shut up.
take
Go
it.
ahead, Cherie. Go ahead.
You know what? And I've had these conversations with you guys. Like, I think Southern people, it's like our parents never accept us being adults. We're always a child to them. And I take it back, and I don't mean to offend anybody by saying this, almost like a slave mentality of like you own another person forever. And I'm an adult now. My parents are adults. And now we have a two adults. I'm not your child. Like, I don't need you to take care of me. So we have a different relationship. I can talk to you in a respectful way, but I can still express myself, and I need you to know what I need as an adult. And you can talk to me as your child, but you have to respect me as an adult. And I think it's a matter of letting your parents know what you need from them and being direct about it. I need this. I don't like this. And I think that anybody that really cares about someone, they will try to understand and try to make some adjustments. But sometimes it's just hard for people. And you also have to understand who you're talking to and maybe even know their history and how they feel. But I know for myself as a parent, I tell my daughter all the time, like, it's okay to tell me if you don't like something. Like, talk to me, let me know when I have you fucked up, but you better not say it like that. You know, she says, Mom, I don't like the way you said that. Mom, I don't like the way you did that. Because I want to empower her to speak up for herself at all times, no matter who it is. I want her to speak up for herself. And I want her to know that I respect her as an individual and as a young lady, no matter the place she's going to be in her life. So I think that we just have to get to a place, because I know, like, for my mom, she's very old fashioned and I can't say certain things to her. But listen, we've had the day where it was all gloves off. But we love each other too much to not hear each other, if that makes sense. And it changed things 180. We haven't had an argument since.
And I wanted to. That was good, Cherie. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying.
I do want to speak on the right or wrong thing. You know, something I do in my practice is I try to eliminate judgment, right? So I say everyone's right and everyone's wrong, because honestly, your perspective is your reality, right? So your truth is your reality. So it really can't say, okay, well, I'm right and you're wrong. It's just we have different perspectives. So once again, how do we lead with that, seeking to understand that it's a different perspective, but no one's right and no one's wrong? Because I ask my clients all the time, well, who's the judge? You know, who gets to determine that this is the right thing and this is the wrong thing? Because last time I checked, you know, whatever you believe in is the judge, and they don't even judge. So it's this concept that we create that you're right and I'm wrong. And I would say, says who?
No. I 100, I hear you 100%. And I think first of all, once I start realizing that being incorrect and being wrong is two different things. So if I'm like, baby, you didn't take the trash out, and he's like, I did, and we get into something about it, and he says, baby, look, I took the trash out, I'm incorrect. That is a fact that happened or didn't happen. I'm incorrect. Right and wrong is about perspective only. That is about your perspective only. And I have a right to say with grace, hey, this is my perspective. I heard your perspective and I appreciate you sharing that with me. And that is helped widen and broaden my stance on the subject. However, I do stand firm in what I said previously. You know, it's a way of still honoring yourself and not being wrong. If you feel like your perspective is your perspective, then that's it. And also honoring another person's perspective. I'm like, I honor your perspective. I feel you. I also honor mine. So we both have a different perspective. let's move forward with that knowledge.
Yeah. I always say facts are observable behavior. A fact is something that every single person can see. Now, if everybody can't see it, then that is a perspective. It could be a
Yes.
little delusional, but once again, perspective is reality. So if
Right.
I can't see the same thing, you can't see the same thing, the other person can't see, that's not a
Yeah.
fact. That is your narrative, that is your delusion, that is your perspective, and who is to say that that's right or that's wrong? You know, like you said, KJ, it's different perspectives and honoring the different perspectives and learning how do we move forward. You know, that we see things differently, but hopefully we love and we value each other enough to come up with a resolve, negotiation, compromise in order to move forward.
Let me tell you, I've had some knockdown dragouts with this wedding and vendors and all this stuff, and I've had to learn so many different people's perspective because they're like, oh, I made the choice because I thought you wanted to walk down the aisle to Here Comes the Bride. And I'm like, I feel you. I feel you. That's not me. That's not what I would like. So this is more my aesthetic and what I want to do. Let's move forward and planning from that perspective with, you know what I mean? Like, you know, sometimes in honoring someone's perspective, you still have to do what you don't want to do. You still have to, just because I say, oh, I don't like, you know, I'll just use a hypothetical example where, you know, I don't know, let's just say my designer, who's incredible, by the way, was like, oh, well, I want you to have pink versus white. I feel you. I get you. But the designs are based on what I need. So we still got to move forward in that direction. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Yeah. Let's go to some of the comments before we wrap this thing up.
Oh my God, it's been 30 minutes already?
I know. Oh, and you said we got to end at 30 minutes, friend.
Yes.
It's so funny because people over here talking about sisters, and I'm like, I know, right? Like, I want to comment on this.
Is it Wednesday? It's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday.
Oh. No, stop that.
Oh, our little nephew, Billy.
I know.
It's bad, but
is there any comments that stick out?
We are breaking generational curses. Amen to that.
Yeah,
Jazzy J said that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people's perspective is a lie, but again, how can you refute that? Ooh, okay.
Well, can you please answer that?
Yes, I need to know how you feel about that.
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, a lot.
What
who?
But
says who?
Because me. I said it's a lie.
Who are you? Who? Like, my thing is, did you go to school to be the judge? Because last time I checked, the judges get paid at the courthouse.
So someone can have a whole lot in their head.
But who's to say it's a lie? Because it's their reality. Who's to say that it's a lie?
Okay, if somebody owe me $500, and in their mind they're like, I don't owe them $500. You know, I've been their cousin in their whole life. One time I picked them up for school, and they didn't give me no gas money for that. So I don't owe them no money. Like, that's a lie.
That is their perspective.
So my thing is the communication, was it clear? Were the terms clear? Like, hey, I'm going to give you this $500 and I need for you to pay me back. Do you understand? Do we agree? Are we both on the same page? Because if not, it's assumption. You can assume that just because you gave me $500, then I'm going to pay you back. But if we haven't talked about it, if we have not ironed out the terms, who's to say?
Well, listen, everybody signing contracts.
Period.
Talk
Give me a receipt.
to my lawyer. Talk to my legal counsel. And we can determine what's a lie and what's not.
Right. Exactly. If I didn't sign on a dotted line.
Yeah. Get out of here.
It's delusions out there. I'm telling you. Listen.
So within your communications with people, you're saying we also have to take in everybody's, not only their communication style, but they're also their perspectives.
Oh, absolutely.
Like someone's perspective.
You have to be clear.
I gotta do too much when I talk to a person.
You have to be clear. A part of communication is making sure the person understood you. Because we can say something. It's like playing telephone, right? When you play telephone, you start off with one, saying, and then you pass it on. By the time you get to the last person, it's a completely different phrase. So one of the things that I do is, this person is going to communicate their feelings or whatever's going on, and the other person has to literally repeat what they say. Because sometimes how we filter what the person is saying is completely different. And so I spend a lot of time going back and forth. Can you repeat what this person said? A lot of times they're like, huh? Because you're creating a rebuttal. So number one, you're not listening. So then the person says it again. Okay, now can you repeat? Okay, they said this, blah, 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 blah. Is that what you said? No, they said something different. So it's a lot of back and forth because we don't know. No one is trained how to do this, right? So it's a lot of work of learning how to communicate and also making sure the person is actively listening to the message that you're trying to communicate.
Someone just said, and even someone's life experiences may, affect their perspectives. So now I gotta ask you your damn history, so I know how you may think.
Yo, how are we supposed to just talk to people if we gotta calculate, we gotta get a DNA, we gotta get a fucking background, we gotta get a background check, like what? Come on, for real. How are we supposed to? Now I feel like I can only engage with people who have my personality type, or who I've been friends with for over 15 years, who knows my intentions.
Emotional maturity, emotional intellect, people that really take an effort into learning how to effectively communicate. Because if we communicate the way that my mama communicated, how your mama communicated, y'all will keep me in business. And thank you. Okay? Thank you for your
an invoice.
Thank you for your time and service.
You have to be an attorney if we communicate like my mama,
but it's practice. We all have our styles of communication. We communicate in different languages. That's why, there's books out there, Men Are From Women, Men Are From Mars, whatever the hell the book is. But we just all have different communication styles. And I think it takes work and effort to learn how to get on the same page, to create clarity, to make sure someone is actively listening, that the person is communicating clearly. It's a lot. And I think that's why in relationships, there's so many misunderstandings and people don't know how to resolve. They don't know how to compromise.
I mean, I feel like as adults, you get to choose who you interact with the exception of, work, right? And at work, you want to understand people, but sometimes you're never going to understand some people. And I just feel like you're just never going to understand. But like in your personal, private life, like I'm done. I'm tired of having misunderstandings with people who I love and who I'm close to.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, I need you to know I love you. So let's start from that baseline.
Yeah.
Love is going to be there. So let's start there.
Yeah.
Like, so everything I said it's not necessarily like warm kumbaya, but it's never malintended because I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like it's like people forget that for a second. Like people are like, oh, well, in this moment, I don't know if you love me. It's like, I love you to the moon and back forever and always.
Yeah.
Like it's never going to not be love.
Yeah.
But no, you can't bring 10 friends over to the cribbo. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
So no.
And I think you have to understand when it's just not compatible, whether it's platonic relationships or romantic relationships. Like if a person is so far below in their emotional maturity, and sometimes it's just not gonna work. And you have to agree to disagree, set those boundaries, create space, because no matter how hard you try to understand, come from the foundation of love, it's just not gonna work. And that's okay. We're not meant to be on this earth to be compatible with everybody,
Well, I'm gonna say this. I want to get to some of these comments because they're good.
Yeah.
Novi hopped on. Tanidra Howard just. Okay, so I do want to say this is that. Oh wait, what did you say? I lost my train of thought.
Compatibility.
Someone said something about y'all being, or they're probably saying KJ's a Taurus, but Jessica's a Taurus.
Jessica's a Taurus too. Yeah, literally.
They were like, she's direct, but she's a Taurus.
Someone said, when a person's mind is made up, it doesn't make a difference what you say to them.
True.
And that's unfortunate for some people.
That's really sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Novi said, insecurities and being in constant triggering state is exhausting for relationships and stagnates growth. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like some people, it's like they're looking for an attack. They're looking.
Yeah. Victim mentality.
Like, why?
Yeah. There's
like,
a victim.
We have a good time. I'm jolly. I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping. I'm really not. Somebody will be offended by you saying, hey, you mind putting the coaster down? Then all of a sudden they got an attitude. You'd be like, hey, that's just my boundary. I don't want you to look at my table.
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah. And I feel like the higher that people go emotionally with their emotional intelligence, people get left behind. You know, some people don't want to grow. Some people are closed-minded, and you got to lead them where they want to be, and that's okay.
Ooh, lead people where they want to be. That's a quote to
Lead them where
You
they
gotta write it
want
down.
to
You gotta
be.
tweet it.
Sure
Lead
will.
people where they
I
want to
live by
be.
that.
Lead them where they want to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find that the more you evolve with understanding people's perspective, the more you see where people want to be? Like you see what level of emotional intelligence they can possess or want to possess?
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's sad. You know, I think, you know, as humans, we should all want to evolve and grow, but a lot of people don't.
Mm-hmm.
I know I was in a space where I loved my ignorance because it was bliss for me. You know, I literally could say, I really don't know, and I'm okay with not knowing.
I
But when
remember that
life
version of you.
kicked
Yes,
my ass,
it was fun.
and the reality was like, now what are you gonna do? I had to open up myself because I didn't know what to do. You know, like ignorance wasn't working for me anymore. You know,
No.
so doing the work and being self-reflective, learning so many new skill sets and stuff like that created a level of awareness that the more that you're aware, honestly, the lonelier it can get because you start to see things clearly. And it's a different ball game up there. It's a different ball game because then you have to make clear choices. You have to make educated choices. When you're ignorant and you don't know, then you can blame it on that. Oh, I didn't know. But now you know. Now you know.
I used to, oh, it's so much. One more comment. People are scared to confront their own pain and they project it on others.
Oh, what we doing poetry
That's
today?
Novi
What's going on?
Brown. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think
People don't
that's
want to
what
look
it
in the
is?
mirror. Like I think symbolically and like literally, we don't like to look in the mirror because we will be faced with the truth, you know, the flaws and all, and people like living in the land of Oz. That's what I call it. Illusion, land of Oz, you know, like just running amok. I like to go there sometimes. It's fun over there. But reality,
fun. Yeah.
it's fun, you know, but the reality is still the reality. And sometimes we just have to face the truth and figure out what do we want to do with it. And people make choices to do absolutely nothing with the truth.
Let me tell you this. I've been healing like since I've been in therapy. So just so you guys know, Jessica, someone that she's partnered with in therapy, that is my current therapist now. Jessica fired me from therapy. No, I'm joking.
Girl, listen.
She's
all
a
these
therapy
invoices, all these invoices.
Our whole life. So, and ever since I've been in therapy and with this wedding coming up, I've been having to heal so many parts of myself because I'm starting a new thing with a new person. He's also having to heal. It is painful. It is painful. You got to have conversations with people you love so that you could just start a fresh chapter. You don't have to have them, but I needed it to move on. And it's painful, but it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it. So, you know, I know we have to close out here, but if you need help, if you need counseling, get it. It has changed my life. And also in this small span of time, like I think I've been working with Jasmine for like 6 weeks. I have healed so much of myself because she's asking me questions that I've never thought to ask myself.
And then you show up better for other people.
Oh,
yes,
for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And one thing that I tell my clients all the time, especially, well, I'm not taking new ones, but when I was taking new clients, I always say, we got to break the pieces. You know, the good thing is that you're not going to break them by yourself, but we have to break the pieces so that we know what the fragments look like. And then so that we also can take it one by one and rebuild it to be the better version of yourself. And it's scary. You know, I tell people the biggest thing and the bravest thing that you could have done is to walk through the door.
Now there's another question here. So it's two. So I'm gonna give one.
There's some therapists on here that's accepting clients. So go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Is she on there?
awesome.
We're gonna give a shout out. What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't. She went up so fast. Come back and make a comment. But that's good.
So the first is it's going to be a question. And the second, Jessica Novi asked if you could give everybody a takeaway question to like ponder on for the next one or for themselves. So the first question is, how do you get people to respect your boundaries and not look like the bad person?
Mm.
I have,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sheree, you go first.
I think you have to become. Let me talk to
Go,
people.
girl, go.
Perspective. It's perspective.
I think you have to be comfortable with your boundaries. You got to accept them first. When you accept them and you say, this is who I am and this is what I need and this is what I want, you're comfortable telling everybody else.
That's it. I need to write that down. That's a tweet. Oh, that's good. I mean, that's honestly, I'm going to piggyback off that. And I want to say, when you set a standard of boundary setting, people are less likely to push them. Mm-hmm. So when boundary setting becomes your new normal,
yeah.
So for instance, you know, and this, when Sky and I first met, like Sky is very much like, he's very much mi casa, su casa. Everything is ours, is ours, is ours. He's always been like that. And I used to be like that, but when he met me, I was very like, mine. And so when we started dating, it was really hard for him to accept that I was like, this is mine. I got this for you. This is mine. You know, and I mean, I'm not there anymore, but at that time, that's how I was and that's what I needed. And so it created a standard right off the top, even though we were in love with each other. Like, hold on, I got to ask KJ first, because just because I want us to go doesn't mean that that's something that she's interested in or she wants to go to. And it was beautiful because that became a standard for me. And now we can be boundaryless because we know each other. We're in, you know, we've been together for a longer period of time. And it was, but I had right off the bat set a very, a very firm standard of, these are my boundaries. I don't, and not bad, but it's just like, baby, it's Friday night. I'm tired. We worked all week. I would like to stay home, versus like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so the thing that came up for me was, because I know she said, how do you get people to respect the boundary? The first thing that came up for me is you have to be willing to walk away or set a consequence if they don't. And I know that's the hardest part for me, being an indirect person and wanting to save every relationship, because people will violate the boundaries all the time. And if there's not a response to that or a consequence or being willing to walk away, then it's just going to be a cycle. So I think as you're setting
the boundaries, you could get another man. Okay,
that's good.
You can
get
another friend.
It has to be a consequence.
Job.
That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, because if not, then it's just, why are we doing this? It becomes empty threats, right? And I think about just raising kids. I have 2 kids of my own, so we set a boundary. Hey, this is what it's supposed to be. And if they violate it and there's not a consequence, then what are we doing?
Violating it.
What are we doing? Yeah.
That boundaries with your parents. I mean, you can't get another one, but
this is what I used to say. This is what I used to say. If you can't be your full self around your parents, then you're still a child. If you can't be your full whole self around your parents, you're still a child.
Yeah.
I am me like this here as by myself, and I am me like this with my mother because I'm an adult. And when you can't set boundaries with your parents, you know that you still are in an adolescent state and you need to fix it. Yeah. You don't want arrested development. You don't want to be one of these, older people who are walking around still scared to tell their parents, you hurt my feelings. That makes me uncomfortable. Mom, I had a long week. I'm sorry, I can't meet you for lunch on Sunday. Can we set up another day? In love, like no disrespect, but like I'm a whole adult.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jess, what do you have for people to their takeaway question for them to ponder on?
That's a big one. I think we covered so much as far as effective communication. Do we seek to be understood, seek to understand? I think what comes up for me is, are you ready to grow and evolve? Like, what does the journey look like if you were to take steps to be the better version of yourself? Does it start with setting boundaries? Does it start with learning how to communicate in a way that can be effective? Does it start with being an active listener? I think making a conscious decision to grow and evolve and be the better version of self is a very big question to ask yourself, because a lot of people don't want to, and it's a scary process, but the value of doing that is priceless.
Mm.
Should
Okay.
we also maybe ask ourselves, like, what are our non-negotiables when it comes to our boundaries? Like, what are we willing to walk away from? Or, if people, should we like write that down? Like, if someone does these things, I'm going to walk away from having them in my life.
Yeah, when I work with clients, more so with dating, but relationships are relationships, I always go through what are your non-negotiables and what are your preferences. So non-negotiables are your absolutes, like hard, black and white. This I won't stand for, this I won't stand for, this is like a hard no. Preferences, I just prefer, it to look this way, but if not, it's not going to result in a consequence. It's just like the cherry on the top. The non-negotiable is like that cake. So if you don't have the cake, you won't have nothing. Preferences are your icing, the cherries.
What's one of your non-negotiables?
Ooh, one of my non-negotiables, I would say consistency.
Cherie?
I think someone that doesn't have a relationship with their family.
Now, let me ask you this. What is something that someone you're in relationship with who set a non-negotiable that's not your non-negotiable? I'll use myself as an example. So yelling is usually someone's non-negotiable, but someone could literally come yell at me to the top of their lungs, and I'll see someone who's hurt and I'll see somebody in pain, and that's not a non-negotiable for me. I'm like, okay, oh, this has really affected you, so I need to really pay attention. That's how I receive yelling and passion and crying. That's how I receive it. But I do know people who are like, don't raise your voice at me.
Yeah.
Ever. Don't ever raise your voice at me. Or, and it's like, so you got to know what your non-negotiable. Sky, you play too much. It's his girl time. Get out of here. So what is someone's non-negotiable for you, but is not your non-negotiable? And you have to kind of like.
Yeah, and I think that goes to, once again, effective communication. So when you're getting to know someone, those are conversations that need to be had, right? So there needs to be a communicator, and then there also needs to be an active listener. So for example, you would tell me, hey, when you yell at me, I feel disrespected. And I would have to repeat, okay, so when I yell at you, you feel disrespected. That means that I am digesting what you're saying, and it's registering to what you're saying. And if I love and care for you, I'm going to take that note to self, even though I might be a yeller, because I care for you. There's going to be a warning to say, oh, but I can't do that with her.
That's good.
Right? So when you love someone, you're willing to compromise and negotiate the terms for the sake of the value of the relationship.
Come on.
I don't think we should use yelling as an example.
Girl, bye.
I'm saying in love. If it's somebody you love, obviously there are people who are just cruel people. And like if somebody's at the stoplight and they're like, I'm not like, oh, I receive you. I hear you. I understand your perspective. No. I'm talking about somebody I love coming to me. If it was my sister or my cousin was like, you hurt me and I felt like this, and some that kind of energy, then I'm not like, oh my gosh, you're yelling at me. This is making me uncomfortable. I'm not that person. I'm like, okay, well, let's figure it out. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's work through it. Yeah. But of course, if it's somebody with malintent, no, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you can yell at me.
Yeah,
you definitely.
And I
definitely cannot do that.
And I feel like for me, when someone gets angry, the walking away, I don't do the walk away thing. And that's my family stuff. I feel like if there is a miscommunication or anger, we can go in corners, but you're not going to walk out the door. Like that's a non-negotiable for me. That just will not work. And I think, for someone else, they might be like, I need to walk away and get space. So I'm going to leave and blah, blah, blah. That can easily be a miscommunication. So I think when you're getting to know someone, when you love someone, those terms have to be communicated about, because if you love someone, then if you're used to walking out the door and that's a trigger for me, you need to find a corner.
And being a non-confrontational person, are you comfortable, or most people who are non-confrontational comfortable saying, you telling me I need space makes me feel XYZ. Like, should
Oh, for
people
sure.
feel comfortable saying that?
I think after the emotional tension has died, right? I think in the middle of like emotional intensity, for me being an indirect, non-confrontational person, I just want that tension to like go away, right? So I think once everything has subsided, time has done its thing, I need to come back because that's my accountability and responsibility. That's because it's my stuff. I have to come back to say, hey, when you handled it this way, that was a trigger for me, and because I love and value our relationship, we just can't move that way.
Right.
And then you give them time, space, and opportunity to see if they'll make adjustments or not. But once again, setting that boundary, you have to be willing to either have a consequence or be willing to walk away.
Yeah.
Because once you communicate what your triggers are, you communicate your non-negotiables, and if someone is still violating it, then what?
So what do you want? What you want people to ask themselves today?
Oh, I thought I said that. Evolving. Do they want to start the journey? Like, what does their journey look like? Is it effective communication?
And I'm
Is
about
it
to go
being
get my license.
How do they
Somebody said they want me to do
decide?
this.
How do they decide that? How do they decide that? I'm sorry, you did say that.
Yeah.
How do they decide that?
I think it depends on where they are in life, right? So you might have someone in a situation right now in a relationship where someone else might have given them feedback to say, oh, you never listen, right? So maybe their journey could be, I want to work on active listening. So the next time someone says something to me, I'm going to make sure I'm repeating what they say. I'm going to say it out loud to make sure I'm understanding the message. Someone else might struggle with boundaries,
Good.
So
I like that.
so their thing might be, okay, who is a person in my life that I need to set a boundary with? What is my responsibility to communicate that boundary and also be prepared for the consequence or being willing to walk away if that boundary continues to be violated.
And so everybody, you got to just be prepared to walk away in a lot of cases.
Or have a consequence. I don't know how many consequences you can give if someone keeps violating the boundaries. So
I mean,
think
a grown person, what consequences can you give a grown person? Don't threaten me with a good time. Right. Talking about we.
I think the ultimate consequence.
I'm gonna call you for a wig. Good. Right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the consequences to me is the baby step of the preparation of the big thing, which is being willing to walk away. I don't know what comes to mind is, all right, if you do this, then I'm not going to do this. But then I feel like that can easily be tit for tat and then it goes juvenile. So it just depends. It depends. I don't know. Do y'all got consequences out there? Let me look and see.
Yeah, we may as well go to, 8?
Somebody said their consequence is that their family rolling up like the Montgomery boat ride.
We got that shit. Oh, we are being petty tonight.
No, that would be funny as hell. No, because that's literally me and Cherie. Like, I'm like, listen, you can fight me all you want. I'll simmer down. Simmer down. Yeah. You can fight me all you want because I'm gonna be here. Yeah. And when you calm down, I will be here. Yeah. And you can, and I'm not going nowhere. So you might as well just relax. Yeah. Like, yeah. And I'm not one of those people that I don't care how long it takes you. If it takes you 6 months to to work through what was going on, I'm like, okay, I'm still here. I'm gonna treat you the exact same. I'm not holding a grudge for you. Like that hurts me worse thinking, she yelled at me one time, but we have 5 years of friendship under our belt. Like that don't be so weird to me. It's just weird. Yeah. Weird. Yeah. And also I think sometimes people need space. Right. Yeah. And I think that's okay. Sometimes I think there's fear created in space, especially people that have abandonment issues. I know I do. I tell people all the time, don't give me too much space because I'll get triggered. Like, are you leaving me? Then I'll go into, okay, well, let me prove that I'm valuable and I'm worthy of you staying and all this other stuff. So I think once again, it needs to be communicated. Hey, you know what? I need some space. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be here, but give me a day, give me 30 minutes, 30 seconds, a week, whatever it is. Yeah. It's all about communication. Oh Lord. You know what I just learned? Don't get mad at me. I was supposed to pin you as the moderator. Oh. Sorry, okay. I'm just learning how to do these lives. This was fantastic. Do we want to do any more comments before we?
Any more comments? Wait, I can still share it on my page though, right?
Oh, thank y'all for telling me to clean my screen. Don't treat me like an auntie, goddamn
I
it.
love the. Okay, what is this? How do you do?
Treat me like an auntie.
I
How dare
can't see
you?
the comments. Someone said, "How do you?" Let me see.
Holding grudges
How do you?
doesn't hurt the other person; it hurts you.
Yes. I be letting stuff go, baby. I ain't got the time.
Someone asked a question though. Where is this? How do you deal with that? Yeah, it's no love lost, but does the relationship remain the same after that? I'm not really sure what context that's coming from.
Yeah, Jessica will definitely save the lives on her business page.
Yeah, they're in the highlights.
Jessica, you want to give what your business page is?
Oh yeah, I'll pin it. If you type it in there, I'll pin it to the.
Okay.
Type it in the comments.
I sure will. I sure will. Well, thank you so much, guys. We are going to be intentional with doing it once a month, right, ladies?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I just tagged my
And
page. Yeah,
someone said that they wanted me to be their therapist, so I'm gonna go get trained.
Listen, oh, you know what, friend? That might be a liability. That's all I'm saying. That might be a liability.
I'm gonna empower the people to say what they got to say.
You know, you need to call it a life coach because you are doing therapy.
You can do a life coach. No, because Cherie gonna tell the truth.
Yeah,
every time.
She's
gonna tell you the truth.
Her perspective of truth. And you know what? People can
Not
rock.
my
Girl, it is a whole community. It is a whole community out there that will rock with you, friend. I'm telling you. You might have to quit your day job.
100%.
Listen, I get paid for corporations to tell them what they need to do in their business. So I can tell y'all what to do.
Gonna tell them folks to pull up. Yes, Cherie will tell you to pull up. Cherie will say what's on your mind. How are you feeling? Okay, now walk into their office. Tell them exactly that, what you just told me. Everybody fired. Everybody.
Yeah. But that's how I am with my friends, though, too. I'm like, all right, Jessica, you going through a hard day? I'm on my way. Like,
yeah,
oh, for sure. You know what? We all live in the pull-up ministry. We all live in the pull-up ministry.
It's a pull-up ministry for sure.
Oh yeah, find some friends that's in the pull-up ministry.
We're in the pull-up ministry. 3 o'clock in the morning. Do the back, sides, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and it's no questions asked. Like we don't even talk about.
I don't even need to know details. I'm coming downstairs, outside, whatever. Everything I need.
Facts.
For real. I mean, you're not talking about COVID. I'm gonna post this on my page. We're gonna and then it's gonna be a collaboration with Just Be You _you. So if you need any advice, if you need any, I don't know what are we offering on the page now, Jessica?
What lives? IG lives once a month. No, I do have IG lives. Come back for your therapy session next month. I will post it. Okay.
Hold on.
It's free therapy.
This is the ministry right here. Hold on.
That is what we are. No, but seriously, I do have therapists that are accepting new clients. I'm like, what are you doing, friend?
That means
pull. The ancestors are on the way. The Black Avengers is going down. That's what that means.
Yes, no, I do have therapists that work with me who are taking clients. So if you are seriously looking for services or if I can help recommend someone, there were apparently therapists on here. So super excited that people are joining in. So if you are a therapist, mental health professional, pin yourself, tag yourself. I don't even know what y'all do on here, but put your information on there. Let people see it. Because it's a community. You know, we're a village, and I'm glad that we're able to get on here and have honest conversations. And we appreciate y'all. Seriously.
And people, don't be afraid of therapy. As much as we take care of our bodies, we go to the doctor, we get our annual exams, so take care of our minds as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So. Girl, I am laughing at this cap though. Like I cannot.
Yes.
We're gonna have everybody going up and throwing up.
It's the bat signal. Yes, it is.
I love that.
Everyone will arrive.
And all of us have love therapy. Yes, we all support therapy. As a therapist, I have my own therapist, so it is a thing. Our friendship has definitely evolved because we've all been in therapy.
It really has.
Yes, for sure. for sure.
This was so
Love you,
much fun.
ladies.
Yeah.
The hat toss means aqua hands and sea murder is on the way. That's Cammy. That's sea murder. All right, we getting out of here. Bye, y'all.
Love y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.